What is going on, everybody? This is Bronco Juggalo,
And Bill.
and we are welcoming you to a brand new segment.
A brand new one?
Brand new. This new segment is going to be called The Comic Cave.
To the Comic Cave!
So this segment is going to be all about comic book movies.
Hell yeah.
That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about comic book films.
And we love comic book films.
And it's not just going to be regulated to one particular
Genre.
company or genre or anything like that, all comic book movies. But we are starting with the massive undertaking of the MCU.
Ugh.
All 23, 24, whatever the fuck films it is now.
And then
And the official MCU. Then we'll get on with all the other Marvel movies and the DC movies.
yeah.
And the Image movies, which you might wonder, what's an Image movie?
Spawn.
An Image comic.
Yes.
Yep, we'll get into that.
Probably their best-selling title they ever had.
Yeah, we'll get into all that kind of stuff. We'll get into, Ninja Turtles, whatever comic book film we decide to come up with, that's what we'll do.
Or if you want one,
Yep.
fucking tell us. And there might be one that we're unaware of. I don't have a copy of it, but there was an animated film of the Max.
Yep.
Wasn't that an Image one too?
I can't remember if Max was in Image or Dark Horse. I don't remember.
I can't remember either, but anyways.
Or no, wait, Max was MTV Comics.
MTV.
Yeah, he was
MTV had a
MTV.
comic book company?
Max was an MTV product.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Huh.
Kind of like Aeon Flux was an MTV product.
Yeah, on Flux. I remember that one.
So, don't despair, folks. There's still going to be plenty of horror coming from Bill and I.
Oh, yeah, we're not... we couldn't possibly get through all these movies in one time.
We can.
Yeah,
but
but...
we're not going to.
We're not going to. We're going to do horror, too.
I'm not saying this is how it's going to go, but we may do, like, 2 MCU movies or 2 comic book movies one week, or, every couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then a horror or whatever. We'll just make
whatever we feel like.
So, but we did want to start doing this because, as I said before many times, my channel is not Bronco Juggalo Talks Horror. It's Bronco Juggalo Talks Movies. And
True.
Even though I love horror and that is my main focus,
Oh, yeah.
there's lots of other movies I like to do too. And this is one of the genres.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, we are bringing you
The very first film.
in the MCU.
I am Iron Man.
Aren't you supposed to be like Spider-Man?
No, I'm not fucking Spider-Man. Fucking Spider-Man.
Directed by Jon Favreau, starring Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark / Iron Man, starring Jeff Bridges as Obadiah Stane, also known as Ironmonger, and starring Gwyneth Paltrow as the luscious Pepper Potts.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I've never been that big of a Gwyneth Paltrow person. I'm not saying she's not pretty or hot. I don't know. Something about her just doesn't do it for me.
I think she's alright. She's got that naughty secretary look.
That was on purpose.
I know.
A lot of people don't know that about this.
Thank you.
Pepper's and Tony's relationship, if you noticed, is a little bit on the not okay at work side.
Yes.
That was Gwyneth Paltrow's idea. Her statement ran something like, "People care too much about crap like that. It's harmless, sexy fun."
Yeah.
This movie came out in 2008. At the time, comic book movies were big.
Yeah.
Comic book movies were at their... I don't know if I want to say high point yet, because...
No, not the high
MCU,
point.
they were at the high point at the time, but the MCU kind of really brought it up even more, I think.
Yes, it did. It did bring it up more because the comic book films we were so used to were like the Hulk and the Captain America, and there was a Wonder Woman live-action film back in the 80s, and maybe some of them went in the 70s.
Even like Batman, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, but we had some good films at the time. I mean, there were some bad ones.
Oh,
the
yeah, there
X-Men
were.
franchise was starting to flounder a bit.
Ugh, badly.
The Dark Knight franchise was going well. We were in a pretty decent place for comic book movies, but things are starting to take a turn, and we hadn't had a really decent one in a while, with the exception of Batman Begins.
Yeah.
And here came Iron Man. Tarantino was actually approached to write and direct the film years before it was ever made. Tom Cruise wanted to produce and star as Tony Stark.
Oh God, no.
The fun fact for this one is due to the script not being complete at the time of filming, a lot, and from what I've been told, a good portion of the lines were ad-libbed.
Oh, that's
Tony
good.
Stark, Robert Downey Jr. made up half his own lines for this movie.
That's awesome.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, especially since his lines are great, so you could tell he did some research on this character, because this does sound like Tony Stark.
Another fun fact, Jeff Bridges, who is a lifelong comic book fan, lifelong Iron Man fan, who wanted to be in this movie so badly, always wanted to play a role where he could shave his head, and he finally was able to do so with Obadiah Stane. And of course, this movie launched the MCU.
Yep.
Now, at the time, there were rumors. I remember that. There were rumors that if Iron Man did good, it could go on to bigger and better things. But we hadn't seen the movie yet. Nobody knew yet. Well, it came out and it just blew the box office away. And 23 films later, we got a huge fucking franchise.
Yes, we do. That's still going, and God knows how long it will keep going. It will go for a while, I think.
And I don't think I need to state the plot of this movie or the synopsis, but I'm going to go just a little bit anyways.
Well, you should. You should.
Billionaire Tony Stark, weapons manufacturer, gets kidnapped in the Middle East. He's put in a cave, held hostage, forced to work on weapons. In secret, he builds an iron suit. He escapes in said suit, makes it back to America, designs the Iron Man suits. His best friend and underling at his company fucks him over, puts him aside, and becomes the bad guy. Finds out he tried to have him killed. Spoilers if you haven't seen this.
If you haven't, where the fuck have you been?
And tries to rip off his tech and shut him out of his own company. He has to fight the guy. He tries to keep his identity secret. But then he decides, fuck that. I'm going to tell the whole world I am Iron Man.
I am Iron Man.
And that's the synopsis in a nutshell. I only have one kind of sort of bad thing to say about this film. How about you?
I've got only two.
Okay. You start with your first one.
Okay. My first con for this film, and both of my cons are really nitpicky.
Mm-hmm.
The first con I have is when he gets shot out of the air, the Iron Man gets shot out of the air by a tank. That's an impossible shot. A tank is not an at least not the barrel. Maybe they're anti-aircraft weaponry you can put on a tank, but the main barrel is not an anti-aircraft weapon.
That's one of those things where it's a comic book film and you just got to suspend disbelief for me.
I know, but for somebody like me...
It was made to be a cool shot, that's all.
I know, it did look cool, but for somebody like me that is into those sort of things, it's like, no, that's impossible. That shot would have been impossible to make. And I just can't let it go, See, nitpicky, very nitpicky.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So my one and only con is, and this is actually going to be a running theme throughout the MCU, and it's something that I've heard mentioned quite a few times, and I fully agree. They threw away their bad guy.
Oh,
they do.
Yeah.
Obadiah Stane, he's there. His turn, all of a sudden we find out he's the bad guy. He gets into a fight with Tony. Movie's over.
You're right.
Those things, and the bad guy's gone. We haven't seen Obadiah Stane in the MCU since, and that's something that the MCU is notorious for.
Yeah,
they don't give their villains credit. They don't give their villains good dues, with the exception of a few.
Yes, there are a couple that they do.
That is going to be a recurring theme for me without this franchise. Now, not always in this franchise are we going to do this pros and cons style, because I can honestly say, I think for the most part, there's not a single MCU movie that we've seen that we don't actually like, right? And we've seen them all.
Yeah, I've seen every... no, I have not seen the new Avengers yet.
Oh, you haven't seen Endgame yet?
I have not seen Endgame, so I can't say that I...
Yeah. It's good.
Have not.
Good. The only one I haven't seen
I don't
is
like
the Spider-Man movie. I haven't seen Spider-Man yet, but I will.
Oh yeah, it just came out.
But
come on.
What I'm saying is, none of these movies are bad films.
No, they're not.
There's some we like less.
Yes, of course.
There's some we think are a bit overrated.
Yes.
But none of them are bad films.
No.
So
No, not by the stretch of the imagination. No, they're not bad.
that's the only thing I got to say negative about the film. I love this movie. It's awesome.
Okay, I gotta agree with him there on the whole throwaway thing. So it's just not comic book style. Because the villains, they always come back. Oh, they're in jail. Now they're back again. We lost that.
It's one thing if you're doing
aspect,
just
you know?
it's one thing if you're doing just one or two, maybe even three films.
Yeah.
You know, because you want to get different bad guys in.
Of
But if
course you do.
On this particular franchise, and I'm not just talking about Iron Man. There's been 3 Iron Man films, 4 Avenger movies, plus all the other films that he's appeared in. They could have brought Obadiah Stane back in at least one of them somewhere.
Some.
You know, we've got this
Something.
23,
Come on.
24 movie franchise. You know, you can do that with your. I mean, they did it with a few of them. I mean, there's a Thor bad guy, which I'm not going to get into yet. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, because
There's a Thor bad guy that repeats himself in quite a few movies.
Yeah.
And then there's a let's just call him an Avengers bad guy because it's kind of, you know, he becomes a central figure. Yes, I know everybody's seen these. You all know who I'm talking about. I'm just being this way because it's the first review. So what?
Yeah. Okay. All right. My last con for this film, and again, it's nitpicky because I love old classic cars. Why the fuck would you test pilot that new suit, the rocket engines? Why would you test pilot them near those old cars? Why? That's just sacrilege. There aren't very many of those cars in existence
He
anymore.
was trying to keep it secret.
Yeah, but there was a big ramp going out. You could drive the cars out and put them outside.
You must keep it secret. You must keep it safe. Oh wait, sorry, wrong franchise.
Yes, he. What the?
Lord of the Rings.
I know, but what the fuck? Totally wrong
I
franchise.
thought I was gonna have to tell you for a second. What the hell?
No, I'm just in disbelief. Totally wrong franchise.
So, getting into the things we love about this movie, my first one is Robert Downey Jr.
Oh,
Dude, all the acting, but Robert Downey Jr. nailed fucking Tony Stark
perfectly.
to a T.
Perfectly.
I've read comics my whole life. I was not always the biggest Tony Stark fan, but when I did read Tony Stark, he nailed it. You ever seen the Iron Man animated movie that Marvel did years ago? It's a decent film.
Yeah.
Almost all their films are. DC has better ones.
As far as animated films, yes.
DC's better, but
DC hits the nail on the head with their animated
it was
films.
still a good movie. He nails Tony Stark perfectly.
Yes.
And I think it's awesome. I love his portrayal. I love his swagger. I love him in this film. I love him in all these films.
Oh, yeah. First pro I'm going to start with is the adaptation of the old story of how Tony Stark becomes Iron Man to modern times.
That was one of mine.
Love it.
Yeah, it's a great modernization of the classic story.
I mean, you could forgive it.
Yeah.
You have to because you got to think modern times.
They put it in the modern age, but they did it the right way.
Yes.
They made the suit, the Iron suit, the first one he
the
made,
very first suit,
look like the original Iron Man suit.
Yes.
The first one. Then they did the second one where it was all gold, just like in the original comic. Then he repainted it to red and gold, and it was different.
Yes.
And I love that too. I love that they did it well, and I love that they show respect to the comic material.
Yes, they
so
do.
many comic book movies. Let's see,
Oh,
Fantastic
God.
Four, not the two,
Ugh.
not the two with the guy that plays Captain America, not the first two, not the good ones. Those,
They're
entertaining.
They're
ones.
entertaining.
Not the entertaining. I'm talking about that crap one that came out a couple years ago.
I never saw it. Never want to.
Catwoman.
Oh,
What's the other one? Electra.
Electra.
No respect for the source material.
No, you want
That's
to talk.
why those movies all sucked.
You want to talk about throwaway villains?
Yeah.
Ugh, Electra.
No
was
matter
the worst
how
one.
hot Halle Berry looks in the cat outfit, they couldn't save that movie.
No.
So, but yeah, they had respect for the source material with this film, and I think in pretty much all the MCU films so far.
They've done really, really well.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
changed the thing here or there to make it
Yeah,
fit
to
today's times.
modernize it. You
Yeah.
know, and it's kind of hard because some of these comics have been going since,
Yeah, Iron
the
Man's been out since what,
40s?
the 60s?
well, some even older ones,
Yeah.
like Captain America. Wasn't he 40s, World War II
Yeah.
time?
30s or 40s.
Some of these characters have been around a long time, and to be able to modernize it and do it well.
Mhm.
You know, he gets kidnapped by, we can't really tell who these guys are, if they're the Taliban or whatever, you know.
Their quote-unquote representation of ISIS or Taliban.
Now, ISIS didn't
You
exist
know,
back then.
Well, they
but-
probably did, but
no,
you know
they
what I'm
didn't.
saying? They're
no,
just...
no, they didn't. They were, it was the Taliban then,
Well,
and then
whatever.
it turned into,
Whatever.
yeah, we're getting too
Doesn't matter.
technical, but
It doesn't matter. It represented the groups that we have now.
yes,
They gave them, you know, a different name, things like that, but it did do it modern.
it works.
You know, if it was back in like if this was back in the 60s, he probably would have been, you know, abducted by the Viet Cong, you know.
It could have been that, yeah.
Something.
We could have just switched regions of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just well done. What you got next?
Special effects.
Yeah.
The effects done by Industrial Light and Magic. Does that surprise anybody?
No,
Industrial Light and Magic, yeah, George Lucas, well, it's not his company anymore, now it's Disney's company. But Industrial Light and Magic, the company George Lucas built, the special effects George Lucas founded, Star Wars, basically, is responsible for the special effects of this film.
yes.
And they're awesome. The CGI is good. The practical effects are good. Everything in this movie is good. And it still holds up to 2019 standards.
It does.
11 years later.
It does.
All the MCU movies do. There is nobody better out there for special effects than ILM. I've said that for years. I will continue to say that. I don't care
Until
who
somebody does come
Yeah.
along, which they haven't yet.
ILM has invented everything in special effects. Pixar was owned by George Lucas.
Yeah. Yeah.
He sold that to Disney years ago, and they came out with Toy Story. Every advancement in special effects has been because of fucking Star Wars.
Wow. Isn't that amazing that one small film, low budget film, created so much?
Yep.
Hey, this is amazing. I'm actually going to agree. This is the first time ever I haven't said I fucking hate CGI.
Yeah.
No, the CGI was done well in this film.
But in these kind of movies or science fiction movies or stuff, we want CGI. We want to see awesome, cool things where you can't get it any other way. You know, like Aquaman. We weren't gonna get practical good effects without CGI underwater for Aquaman. I mean,
Oh, let them drown. Let's get it anyways.
no. I'm just saying. Anyways, yeah.
I know.
These kind of movies, I'm all for. I love CGI. I've always.
If it's done well.
I just don't like it in a lot of
There
horror
are a
films.
lot of bad films, even sci-fi and action films, that have horrible CGI.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad they went to ILM.
Oh yeah, that's who you go to. Okay, my next pro for this film is when Tony Stark gets back to America, and the first thing he says is, "Fuck the hospital, fuck everything. I want an American cheeseburger." Fuck yeah. Hey, don't be looking like that. You'd want one too if you'd been halfway around the world in captivity.
Probably. I just think that's funny.
Hey, I love it. I love it. It speaks to me because that is what we are, man. Come on.
Yeah.
We love food.
Yeah. We love our red meat.
Yes.
My next pro is the humor, and that right there kind
That
of goes
is,
into it.
yeah, that is part of the
I
humor.
love the humor of the film. They didn't take the material too seriously, which is good because I always thought Tony Stark did have a sense of humor.
He does.
A very
yes.
sarcastic sense of humor, which I've always liked. And I
Yeah.
thought, once again, Robert Downey did that well. I love the humor of the film. I think the jokes are good. They're funny. Going on through the MCU, we got good humor. You know?
Oh, yeah.
So, but we'll get into all those movies as they come.
Definitely, because there's some great humor. Puny God.
What else?
All right, my next pro for this film is that I guess this goes back to the story again, but they stuck with Iron Man originally being kind of a vigilante. You know, nobody knew it was Tony Stark, and nobody did in the very beginning.
Until he almost got blasted out of the sky.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was like, Rhodey, it's me, don't shoot.
Yeah. But I love that they stuck to that, too. Because I love Iron Man as the vigilante. Because he just, Robert Downey Jr.'s character as Tony Stark, he realizes that I fucked up, how can I make it right? And the only way he could see at this moment in time is to become a vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, and that is the way Iron Man started out, as a vigilante. And let's face it, people, most superheroes start out as vigilantes. I can't even think of one that doesn't start out as a vigilante. Can you?
Superman? I don't know if I call him a vigilante. He kind of introduced himself pretty quick to the cops and shit.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
He backed up some bad guys and delivered them to the cops and was like, I'm Superman, I'm here to help.
Yeah, but when you're Superman, you're invulnerable to everything.
Yeah, he didn't give a shit if they liked him or not. He was like,
I'm Superman, I am... Bang! Again, I am Superman. Bang!
Nothing you can do about it.
And I am Superman.
But anyways, before we get off too many tangents, let's wrap this one up.
All right.
The last thing I want to say about this is I love the soundtrack. There's a lot of great things about this movie, guys. This is a good movie. It's well written, the script is good, it's well acted. I love the soundtrack. Lots of good classic rock and a good original rock score. And I like that. I love that in this movie. It's an upbeat soundtrack. It keeps you going through the movie, and it hits all the right points. The one thing that I thought was funny is I Am Iron Man, the song Iron Man by Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Both you and I swore that made an appearance during the movie when he was escaping from the cave, but it doesn't.
It didn't.
I could have swore it did too. I was like, don't the eyes go on and it says,
Iron Man.
But it doesn't. You don't hear that song until the credits.
Yeah, I could have swore it was there too.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I really miss,
I guess we missed that.
Yeah. But anyways, that's all I have to say positive about I got lots to say about the film, but that's all I need to touch on.
Same here. Oh, we got one more thing.
Yep, something we want to do with these MCU movies, we're going to play a little game called Spot the Stan Lee Cameo. We're going to give you 3 seconds to tell us if you can see it. Of course, this isn't live, so you just put it in the comments. The Stan Lee cameo for this one was at one of the parties. He played
Hugh Hefner.
Yeah, we're going to give the Stan Lee cameo for everyone, just for the fun of it.
Oh, hell yeah.
We'll do it through all the Marvel movies, because he's been in all of them since, what? His first Marvel movie cameo was one of the films in the 80s.
I can't remember. It definitely was not The Punisher.
No.
Definitely wasn't that one, because I love that one.
It was the 70s. It was a made-for-TV Hulk movie. He played a juror.
Oh.
The Trial of the Incredible Hulk.
Oh.
Yep, he was in that. Well, anyways, guys, this is Bronco Juggalo, and I hope you enjoyed the new segment of The Comic Cave. And as I said, next week, we're going to try and do something a little bit better for you.
Something special.
Yep. So, we will hit you all up later.
Because my phone's ringing.
Peace.
Bill Singh, good night.
Is it a crime to have some motherfucking money in this country? Man, if any one of y'all weasel-faced lobsters try to put y'all claws on this motherfucking money, I'm